Okay, hi friends. So here's the deal. I wanted to film a little bit today because it's so beautiful outside and I wanted to take advantage of that and get in the garden a little bit, but I wanted to give a little bit of a background and record some of it today before I really get into the garden. So that way everybody's kind of on the same page as we go through this lovely journey together of learning how to garden. Last year was my very first year gardening. I spent 9 years in New York City. I am from the Pacific Northwest. I moved to New York City and I spent 9 years over there. The most gardening I ever did was the apartment that my husband and I were living in had like a really deep, awesome windowsill and it got a good amount of sunshine. And I love using fresh herbs when I cook. And so I was like, oh, let's do an herb garden in the windowsill. So he bought me the stuff and we made ourselves a little herb garden. The problem was, a week, 2 weeks into it, I was laying on the couch, which was right up against where the windowsill is. And I was kind of falling asleep, taking a nap, and I feel something. And so I look and there's an ant crawling on me. And I was like, what? Weird. One, I lived on the 4th floor. This particular apartment, I had lived below floors and then that was on the top floor. And we never had any kind of pest problem, which is, you know, in New York City, you can have all kinds of horrifying things, cockroaches, mice, the list goes on and on. And in this particular place, I think I lived there 3 years or something, not a thing, like very, very clean. So I was like, that's weird. And we're on the top floor. So I was like, what a bizarre thing to have this ant crawling on me. So I just got rid of it and didn't think much of it. So I'm kind of still drowsy. And then I feel something on my leg. Lo and behold, there's another ant. I look and I have ants everywhere, like 20, 30, maybe more. I mean, it was a ton of ants that were around the couch. So then I started freaking out. My husband wasn't home yet. He was working. So I start freaking out and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like getting the vacuum cleaner, vacuuming up all these ants. And then I look in, I'm like, where are they coming from? And I look in the windowsill and the herb plants have ants all over them. So I was like, nope, not gonna happen. I do not like bugs. So he got home and I was like, get rid of this. So he got rid of the ant home, I guess, for me. So that is the extent of my gardening and plant life, is that one terrible, terrible scenario when I was living in New York City. So when we moved home in 2020, it was like, oh, there's a chance to have a garden. And I think with a lot of people during all of the crazy of 2020, I think a lot of people were like, what can we do at home? Not just because there was this, like, maybe there won't be groceries, but like, I don't have anything else to do. And at that point we had a 6-month-old and I knew that I wasn't going to be going back to work. I wanted to stay home with our daughter. And so it was kind of like, well, what should I do now? And so I was just finding things around the home that I could do that would be a couple of things. One is some form of a contribution to my family. Obviously, being a mom and being home and raising our daughter is like the highest of all contributions. But part of that was, how can I kind of keep myself mentally stimulated? I like trying new things. I like learning and researching. And anyways, so through it all, I thought, a garden. I'm going to garden. So last year, which was 2022, where we lived, we had moved a couple of times, and where we lived, we were finally able to have a really good sized garden, especially for being just in like a suburban area, a backyard garden. It's like pretty legit considering the space that we have. And we have amazing landlords, and we're saving right now because we would like to buy like a little homestead for us. We really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. My husband really loves the idea, though he owns a business, so he kind of works full time. He doesn't get a chance to be outside doing all of this with me as of now, but he's really interested in us kind of pursuing this bit of a lifestyle, not being out in the middle of nowhere per se, but just being able to be a little bit more self-sustaining. And we really believe in being good stewards of what we've been given, good stewards of the environment and the world around us, the creation that God made. We want to take care of it and preserve it and do what we can do in our own lives and in our own home. So all of that to say, last year, I went and decided I was just going to garden. I bought way too many seeds and I didn't know how to do anything. I did a few starts, some tomato starts and some pepper starts. Like I did try jalapeno and a couple of hot peppers, but Those failed miserably. I tried bell peppers. Those also failed miserably, but the tomatoes did really well. And I was actually able to plant them, and we harvested tomatoes. I did learn something. I planted way too many cherry tomatoes, and though cherry tomatoes are lovely, number one, my husband does not enjoy them really at all in a raw form. So if he was going to eat it, I had to like cook them down. You did like some of the tomatoes, yeah. And I am fine with tomatoes, though they're not my favorite. I do like tomato products, though. I love making like homemade tomatoes or bolognese type of sauce, tomato soup, those kind of things. Anyhow, so we did do tomatoes, too many cherry tomatoes, not enough beefsteak or whatever, big tomatoes. Are they all called beefsteak, or is beefsteak a particular type of tomato? Nonetheless, so I want to have a different plan this year, but I didn't do any starts this year because the place we're in, though it has a great backyard, we don't really have a lot of space indoors for seed starting. And I did not buy grow lights last year because it was my first year, and I was like, I'm not going to spend more than I already did, which was a good amount as it was. We probably spent total over the span of a few months getting the garden in order, compost, soil stuff, whatever else, the seeds, the everything. I would say we probably spent around $2,500, which we did know going in that's what it would be. And we knew that the initial cost was going to be the biggest of the costs. And then from then on, it would be less worrisome. So having said all of that, this year, I did not feel like spending money on grow lights either because I just don't have a place to put everything. I don't like it being in my living space. And so we decided to just hang tight. So this year I'm probably going to end up buying, well, I've already bought a few starts, but I'll probably buy tomato starts and those sort of things. So that way I can just go ahead and put sow those directly into the ground. And I'll also sow anything that I can seed sow direct that doesn't need to be started. Honestly, I don't even know what those would be. I have to look at the back of all my seed packets. Like last year, all of my squash, I didn't harvest a squash to eat. I think maybe like a small teeny zucchini once, and that was it. None of my pumpkins. I did, 4 different types of squash. I did 3 different types of zucchini, acorn squash, those little shallot squashes. I did or scallop rather. I did like shallot squashes, the green ones and the white ones of the scallop squash. I did spaghetti squash. What's the other one I did? Butternut squash, and then a Cinderella pumpkin and a sugar pie pumpkin. I grew part of a sugar pie pumpkin. It got to be about like yay big. The vine rotted and died. Everything else maybe sprouted a leaf, or some of them actually vined and everything. And I was like, okay, we're doing good. And they would flower, but it was like they never pollinated. I tried pollinating it, manually pollinating it, but it felt like the male and female flowers were never open at the same time. So I would check on them every day, and it'd be like, okay, there's a female flower that's open. And it's like all of the male flowers have already died. So I'm like, how are you supposed to? So I don't know, maybe you have a tip and you can just comment below and let me know what on earth you do. And those were all direct sows. We also have in the Northwest, we have a major slug problem here. Like this is the land of the slugs. It's moist, it's green, and this is like their heaven. Slugs. The slimy slugs. So the slugs ate a lot. If I direct sowed it, the seed, I lost the majority of that, I would say, to slugs. Like I had to keep trying to plant over and over. And then by then the season was just way too late. All of that to say, we're going at it again this year. I can't say that I know much more than I did last year. For half of me feels maybe more confident because I did grow some things and I did get to harvest some things. But honestly, the other part of me feels maybe more lost than I was last year because I knew I didn't know anything. And so I expected nothing. And I kind of was just like, gung-ho, let's try it. Whereas this year, it's like, I feel like I know a little bit more, which shows me how much I don't know. This will be an interesting year, but we're just going to go for it again because why not? We just got to try it. So I'm sitting here to say, I'm writing a list. It is so beautiful today in the Northwest. This is like the kind of days where you're like, this is why I live here. It's sunny, it's beautiful. You can see all of the mountain ranges from the Cascades to the Olympics. Like it's beautiful. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's just right. It's perfect. It's beautiful today. So I want to be out in the backyard. I want to be in the garden and I want to get stuff moving. But when I walked back there, It's a mess. I did not put it away to bed, whatever, before winter properly. And I am greatly paying the price now. So one thing I did learn, well, my second thing I learned, one, don't do so many cherry tomatoes. Two, just do the work when it's time to do the work and don't put it off, which is kind of a life lesson in general. I'm learning that at the ripe old age of 40 something, still learning it. Nonetheless, do it when it's time. Last week we did have a couple sunny days. I went out and I already started to finally take like my dead tomato vines down. Lord help me. So I took those down, started to weed. There's still a lot left to do. There is so much dog poop in our backyard because we did not go out. Normally we go out regularly and pick up the poo. And over the winter, none of us went outside and did it. And so it is like a giant dog toilet out there. So first things first, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna pick up a whole bunch of dog poop, yippity-doo. But I'm gonna do that, and that way I can walk and my little toddler can walk around and we don't have to worry about any special poopy surprises on our feet. So we're gonna take care of that. And then I've already like scanned through. I have this lovely piece of paper here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just write a list. I'm a list person. I don't always use them, but when I use them, they help me so immensely. I'm can be very scattered and honestly a little overwhelmed at all of the tasks. Oh, thank you. This is for the deep tissue massager, one of the attachments, but we like to use it as a microphone. Thank you. Do you want it back?
Okay.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, here.
And this is my mom.
Oh.
This is my mom.
Uh-huh.
Can I sit by you?
Do you want to sit by me in the chair?
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Why don't you come on the other side? Come get this chair instead. I can get really overwhelmed and I can feel like there's just too much to do. I get like this in general when I have a lot of things coming from a lot of different angles, or sometimes if I don't keep my house in order like I like to,
Hi.
then it just feels like there is
Hi.
hi.
It's us.
It's us. Hi, it's Amber.
This is Louisa.
Oh, it's Louisa. And we are talking about our garden. Okay, so as I was saying, I have to have a list. A list. And so what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and just think through everything that I just saw outside and write down everything that needs to be done.
I got a question first.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
That we have been planting in our garden so much.
We've been what?
So much.
I don't know.
And 7, I got 3 checkers. 1, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16.
Way cool. Yeah. As I was saying lists, it's hard to wonder what gets me so distracted throughout the day that I need lists to keep my mind together. I wonder. I need to make a list. I need to be able to have it in bite-sized proportions. I need to write it all down so that way I just know, even like little things, take out the trash, whatever it may be. Even things that maybe I know that will be really quick or that are secondary to something else. So like, this is an example. Pick up the dog poo, throw it away. Now I get to check 2 things off. And for me, even though they're kind of the same project, it feels like I've got stuff checking off and it really helps build the momentum for me. So I'm going to make a big list, try and give you a quick tour outside so you know what's going on. And then that way throughout the summer, as I post stuff, you'll be able to follow along and hopefully we'll be able to look back and see there's nothing yet, but we're going to make a big list and you can help me make the list. And then we'll be able to...
Can I do the list?
Of course. Yeah, I need your help. She's my helper. That way, as we go through the summer, you'll be able to look back. I'll be able to look back and see, hopefully, what we accomplished, what worked, what didn't work, and it'll kind of just hopefully bring people together. And maybe you're trying to plant a garden or maybe you feel intimidated. I know I did, and I had so many people last year because I posted a lot on Instagram. I had so many people last year tell me like, wow, I can't believe you're doing all this. How do you know all this information? Or I've wanted to do this for so long, but I feel so intimidated, or whatever it may be. And for me, I'm like, yeah, same. I have no idea what I'm doing. I watch YouTube videos, but honestly, so much of it feels like it kind of flies over my head. And being a mom of a little one and an older mom of a little one, it makes me feel like my brain is very jumbled sometimes. So I'm just trying. I'm trying to figure it out. And I figure it's better to at least try than to kind of have that paralysis of an analysis. Yeah, paralysis of analysis, and waiting until everything is just the right setup before you do it, which is kind of my nature. I like to do things right, and I like to do things well, and I like to know what I'm doing before I do it. I've been like that since I was little. When I was learning to walk, I would stand up from the exact same spot. My parents would laugh. The refrigerator handles were really on. Sorry, I have allergies, and so I just keep rubbing my nose because this is what it's going to be for the next few months. I would go to the refrigerator all the way to the kitchen. I would crawl to the kitchen, pull myself up from the refrigerator door because they were low enough. And then I'd walk my little way into the living room. I would fall, crawl back to the same spot. Like once I knew I could do it. So my daughter, I find, is a lot like that too. She took a little bit longer to walk than I expected. Because it felt like, oh, she knows what she's doing, but she like wouldn't do it. And so when she actually learned to walk, she just straight started walking. Like she never did the normal like, whoa, and kind of fell over. She pretty much walked really well right to begin with because she practiced and practiced by holding someone's hand or holding onto something just a little bit until she was like completely capable. So I see it is. So I see a lot of the same traits. I realize raising her, I'm like, oh, this is why I do what I do. And I see it in that context. And I'm like, okay, I kind of understand now. So I say that to say myself, I like to know what I'm doing and I like to do something well, or I don't like doing it, to be honest. And I've really tried pushing myself to just try it with videoing this stuff. I have no idea. I'm just going to do it. My husband's like, just do it. People like watching your videos of what you're doing. Like, just do it. So here I am. I'm saying it. I'm just going to do it. And it might be messy and it might be boring. It might be fun and funny and embarrassing and all of the above. But I've just decided I can't wait till I know what I'm doing, or I can't wait till everything's perfect. Like, just go. Just do it. This is real life. This is what it is.
I made your list.
Thank you, honey. This is what it is. So let's just do it. I hope that you will join in the journey. I hope that you will like and subscribe and do all the things that hopefully you'll do all of those things. And I hope you enjoy following along. I'd love comments and feedback, especially if you know what you're doing. By all means, I'm listening. Just so you know, gardeners out there, I am working really hard to follow the Back to Eden method as best as I can. It makes the most sense to me. I've been to Paul Gauchi's garden out in Squim. We live in the Pacific Northwest as well, not out in Squim, but we've been out there, we've driven out there, and it's beautiful, and he's so kind, and he's so generous to offer information as he does. And I've seen it, how it works firsthand, so I really want to give that a shot here. It also seems the easiest in a good way, not in a particularly lazy way, but I think part of why I never dabbled in gardening before is I felt like it was like chemistry class. Lots of the videos I've watched, it's like, make sure it's this much nitrogen and phosphorus and I'm like, what? I don't know. Like, it just feels so overwhelming. And with the Back to Eden method, it feels like it takes that stuff out, and that it kind of just lets things grow how God made it to grow. And so that's what I'm shooting for. Like I said, back to the list. I'm going to make a list of everything that I can think of right now in the garden and the backyard that needs to happen. Then we're going to take a tour of what it is that I'm talking about, what my plans are for this year.
I made a list.
Oh, look at that list. Come on, somebody.
It's your list.
I appreciate it. That's a great list.
Do you want to make your own now?
I'll probably make my own too, but I think that you keep going with that list. Mama needs all the help she can get.
I'm done.
Oh, okay. Anyways, I'll check back in with you and let you know what's going on. And like I said, let's just figure it out together. Help me, I'll help you. Hopefully you get inspired to just like jump in and try, because you just never know what you end up with, and you don't know until you try. So let's try. Okay, and this is the beginning of, I'm showing the garden. So this is the kind of the beginning of the backyard. I've got my lovely wood chip pile that I still need to spread out everywhere. We have a couple of apple trees that are rotten. So every time the apples grow, they just immediately start falling and they rot from the inside out. If you have tips on that, please let me know. I'm gonna try to not step on dog poop. See, this is just real life. Here is our rotten pools from last year, and it's so sad because we bought these last year and they were such a great addition, and then I didn't put them away and now they're gross. So we'll see if we can salvage them, maybe do some bleach, and hopefully we don't have to toss them because that is a waste of money. We've got a little spot for the fire pit, and our chairs are kind of spread about, but we like to put them around there. Okay, so this is my first little spot. I don't even remember what flowers I planted here. I didn't even understand the difference between annual and perennial, honestly, when I did it. So these are probably perennials, and I probably need to thin it out. Maybe these are daisies. Oh, wow, look at this fella. He grew so much. Yeah, these are for sure perennials. Oh boy. Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of stuff popping up. So I need to go through here and weed all this grass out. This was some zucchinis.
And strawberries today.
Yes. Oh, should we show them the strawberries and blueberries? Let's go. Let's show them.
But there's no strawberries.
Oh, we don't have any strawberries yet, but this is our strawberry garden. Yeah, this is where our strawberries are, and or will be, I guess I should say. Hopefully they just grow back on their own. I don't know. I've never grown them before.
That there is.
Our little sweet blueberries. And they're starting to bud, so that's pretty exciting. But I have a lot of weeding to do, a lot of grass in these cinder blocks, as you can see.
They're trying to grow blueberries.
They are trying to grow blueberries.
They are.
Okay, let's move it this way.
I eat all of this puppy.
She does eat all of them.
All of the
So back
blueberries.
here last year, I had brassica, or is that even how you say it? Cauliflower, and I had broccoli
Mama,
and
you gotta hold
broccolini,
my
and it
hand.
never,
You hold my hand.
that's small, Hanson. It never actually took. Not like they went to seed immediately,
You are wa-
and it just didn't work. So I don't know what I'm gonna put there this year yet. I haven't decided. This place here, I had
Two,
corn.
three.
And it got to a certain height. I was so excited. It was knee high by the 4th of July, and then it just died. So I think it didn't have enough nutrients is my guess. And so they died. But they were like little mini corn stalks, and that was cute. So that was a good start. This is the main garden here. And the one downside is this tree up here is so beautiful, our neighbor's tree. The problem is during the summertime that I did not consider when I was looking at all of this around this time of year is the fact that like this is shadowed most of the day. So I did grow some lettuce in here, which is actually, you can see this is like lettuce plants from last year, and there's some kale. That worked out great. Oh, we got our bubble master. Go ahead. Oh, there we go. Where's those bubbles at? Oh, take it inside. Have Daddy put some more bubbles in for you. It's out of bubbles. Yeah. Okay, so this is like in shade. I tried to trellis and grow, well, I have a trellis, but I tried to grow, you can see some leftover from the snap peas here. They only made it about to here, and then they all died. And then I tried to do the different squash. I'd seen so many people grow squash vertically as far as pumpkins and the different types of squash. So I had tons of them. I had cucumber over here. I had green beans and peas, and the only thing that grew was some snap peas. We probably got about 10 snap peas out of it, and that is it. Everything else just pooped out. So I got to figure this out. It doesn't get a ton of light, and I think that that was a big part of it, especially for anything I planted on this, the opposite side here. That was basically totally pointless. So I think if I'm going to plant anything, I'm going to have to do it here, and I think I might need to buy starts since I can't plant any starts currently. Inside, I think I'm going to have to buy starts and see if that helps, because that just got clobbered by slugs. I mean, right away. Along the outside here, I did plant like a wildflower mix in these just to see, and it actually, they grew out and it was really super fun. So there are some perennials. As you can tell, there's a lot of green still in here. So I'm just going to wait and see what pops up. And if I need to replant something different, I will do that. Okay, so this is sad and silly, but this is cabbage that lasted through the year. Can you still eat it? Like, this is still a cabbage. I have no idea. So those cabbages are still there. I haven't taken that out. That was a green cabbage, but I need to get rid of that. My celery finally popped through, and I planted it last year, and now it's actually starting to look like celery. So I think I'm just gonna leave this alone and see if it grows this year. It would be way cool to get celery. Can you do it after a second year? Oh, we got the bubbles.
I got the ball to help the cabbage grow.
Oh, thank you. Okay, don't mind the ladder there. We had the house painted. Ah, such a mess in the backyard. Does everybody else have that too? Nice. So I've got my kale from last year, my fennel I need to get rid of. It's all rotten and gross down there. We did plant some carrots as well. We did harvest a few of them. They were pretty little, so I thought I would leave some of them in here just to see how they did. And so we'll check on that a little bit later. But I do have kale. Is kale perennial? Does it just keep going and going? We'll see. I started to take down my I used to have big sunflowers in the back of my garden here. I took those down. I need to just put all this in compost. These are green onions from last year. They took forever to grow, and now they're finally growing. And so again, I assume that we could pull them and eat them. We'll see. This is where my tomatoes were, but I did take them down. I do have some lettuce that seemed to stay put from last year through the winter, which is bizarre to me, but okay. These are daisies, and I'm assuming those are perennial as well because they're still green. I don't know. If you don't like the kale, that's okay. I have some more kale over here, and then this is where I had my lettuce, was in this little area, and I actually have like a couple little bits of lettuce that seem to have not gone to seed, and I don't know, maybe we can still eat it if it's sweet or not. We'll see. And lots of dead stuff. I did just plant some onion starts, so we got to water those and see how those do. And I have loads and loads of weeds. So this is the garden and the backyard. This is what we're looking at. So this is what I'm making a plan off of, and you can see where we're at now. And then as we go along, you'll be able to see as it get cleaned up, and hopefully we get some good harvest. Okay, I'm actually pretty excited here. I've done some major weeding, and my sweet husband has been picking up all the piles that I have all over the place and taking care of those for me. So in here, I had zucchini in here last year back here, and then I planted all of these. They're different flowers, like herbal flowers, and honest to God, I don't remember what they are at all. I think these are daisies, and they get really big. Isn't it amazing how little teeny seed turns into something so big? And I was gonna try and thin it out, but honestly, I don't even know if I can. So we're just gonna see what happens to that. This plant started to finally come through this year, so we'll see what that is. Same with this. I don't remember what it is. I think maybe I did daisies like around the back, and then I think I did them like down and down, and then this, I think this, and this are different. Maybe this is different too. Gosh, I just don't remember. But look at whatever this thing is sure having a heyday. So that's exciting. So I'm gonna figure that out. And I think I'm gonna put one lavender here, and then or maybe in the middle or on the side, I don't know. And then I'm gonna do echinacea in here too. Just because I think I'm gonna make this like a big medicinal herbal flower bed. Once I can figure out what these are. Whoops. That's why you label your gardens, friends. Label them. Hopefully I still have a seed packet. Maybe I didn't put all the seeds in here. Maybe I have seed packets that will tell me. If not, maybe you know. Let me know if you know what these are. Don't mind the little girl sounds behind. I'm watching a friend of the family's little 2-year-old. So I've got a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old. Mine is napping. This one just woke up. We're having a heyday today. But I did want to pop back on here because I did not get a chance to come on yesterday after I finished the garden tour. And I wanted to just kind of summarize everything and let you know how yesterday went. So yesterday was so beautiful, and I'm so glad that I went outside yesterday and did all of it, because today it is gloomy and rainy and gross and not the day that you want to be outside. So I'm so glad I got it done, and I got most of the weeds. I would say probably 95% plus of the weeds out of the main garden area, and I still have the space where the 2 apple trees are. I still have to weed through that. It's not as big of a priority because I don't really plant much of anything over there. I'm not sure if I'm going to or not. I was thinking about maybe doing zucchini and squash because it does get a good bit of sunlight throughout the day, other than right underneath the tree. Anyway, so I was thinking of potentially doing that. Either way, I do have some weeds there that I need to take care of, but all in all, I have pretty much most of them pulled, which I'm pretty excited about. It was a lot of work, but it looks so much better outside. I did get a couple of things in the ground as well. I got some starts that I bought, I think some snow peas and some sugar snap peas. So I got those in the ground, and we're just moving forward, and I'm very excited. I'm excited to be back outside, and my hands somewhat in the dirt. I like to wear gloves because I don't really like dirty hands, but it's been awesome. It's going to be a fun adventure. I hope that you will follow along on the journey and the adventure with me. And if you would, and if you'd like to follow along with my gardening, some of my homemaking things I've learned along the way with parenting and all sorts of stuff, I would love it if you would like and subscribe to Life's a Beachum. That's what we're going to be doing, is just kind of life and what all it offers, and some tips and tricks, and then maybe even some questions that I have along the way that hopefully you can answer and be a part of too. So I appreciate you watching the video. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week, and I will see you next time.